How you doing? I am a team leader in a thing called the Meltdown Challenge. The Meltdown Challenge is a company that hosts online health challenges. It's kind of like a diet bet. You're kind of like betting on yourself to lose a certain amount of weight or maintain a certain amount of weight. This video is not really about that, but I'm just telling you that this video is addressing both my Meltdown Challenge team and my Take Shape for Life clientele and coaches and their clientele and anybody else who needs to hear this. I'm not a prophet. I don't come up with anything that anybody else hasn't thought of before, but sometimes people need to hear things from a different point of view or from a different voice in order for them to understand it. What I would like to do is to help you understand why things happen to you. My challenge team and my Take Shape for Life team are both having trouble. Now, it's not everybody, it's just a handful in each one, but they feel like, it's like, why does this always happen to me? Now, what happens? What happens is you lose focus. You lose focus on, I want to eat a certain quality of food because I want the outcome. Because food is what makes my body what it is. You are what you eat really is a very strong statement. And so when you feel like you're craving popcorn, do you think that your body needs popcorn? Probably not. I don't see why you would ever need popcorn. I'm doing like an air quotes thing. At the same time, you could say, does my body need vodka? Does my body need cow's milk? Does my body need nectarines as opposed to apples? No. But honestly, if you think about the nutritional quality of popcorn, your body does not need popcorn. Your body doesn't need vodka either. Maybe your soul does, but does your soul really need it? Or are you feeding an addiction? There are people who have a hard time wrapping their head around the concept of people who have an eating disorder have an addiction. There are people that have a hard time wrapping their head around the idea that people have eating disorders. I mean, an eating disorder doesn't mean that you're sticking toothbrushes down your throat in order to throw up the peach that you ate, or you're being admitted into a hospital with, an IV because you won't eat, or you're 750 pounds. Eating disorders range. They're not just one way or the other. You're not either 82 pounds or 782 pounds, okay? So if you have an eating disorder, you can consider it an addiction. And if you have an addiction, what are you addicted to? Are you addicted to food? Or are you addicted to the feeling that food gives you? And do you have control over how something makes you feel? That's a hard question to answer. I'm not saying that that's a definitive yes or no, because if you're in a dysfunctional relationship with another person and that person constantly makes you feel bad, a lot of times you can't change that. A lot of times you've just got to get rid of that person. So you kind of have to get rid of the thing that you're addicted to. Maybe you're always going to feel that way about popcorn. Maybe popcorn is always going to be something that you crave, and maybe popcorn is going to always be something that gives you gas and makes you fat and makes you feel bad about yourself. Not bad about yourself because you ate the worst thing in the world, because there are worse things than popcorn, but maybe making you feel bad about yourself because you were exhibiting the behaviors of not having control. Now listen, if you took 2 cups of popcorn and you ate 2 cups of popcorn and left it at that and didn't put extra salt or butter on it, that would be control, and that would be okay. And some people can do that, and some people can't. And some people can smoke 1 Marlboro Light, and some people can't. And some people can have 3 drinks, and some people can't. Some people can't have any. Some people can't even have 15 drinks. Some people can't have popcorn in their house. I have an eating disorder, but I have a lot of stuff in my house that I don't crave. I don't keep red velvet cheesecake in my house. I mean, not a lot of people do, but some people do. I don't keep ice cream in my house. Now, these aren't things that I binge on anymore. I used to. I also have become aware of things that I have control over and things that I don't have control over. I don't have control over cold egg rolls in my fridge. I don't have it. I can't have it in my house. Is it the same as the alcoholic who can't have a bottle of wine in their house? Because the bottle will be gone, obviously. Some people can't have 2 cups of popcorn. Some people have to have the entire bag or batch of popcorn that they've popped. Some people, have control over things and some people don't. And it's not just I'm a sweets person or I'm a salty person. That's one of the reasons why an eating disorder is a lot more complex. I don't know if this is an incorrect statement to say. An eating disorder can be a lot more complex than a substance abuse disorder. We have to eat to live. There is no abstinence. Overeaters Anonymous consider, and I've done a little bit of research, in my how many years on earth. Overeaters Anonymous considers eating on your plan, abstaining. A lot of people have trouble with that concept that, let's say maraschino cherries are off plan, but fresh cherries are on plan. Candied ginger is off plan, but pickled ginger is on plan. Porterhouse is off plan, but London broil is on plan. Chicken thighs are off plan, but chicken breast is on plan. That kind of thing. By the way, mango for me is off plan, but apples are on plan. It's weird. Everybody's got their own little thing. Most alcoholics consider wine, Jack Daniels, vodka, whiskey, beer to all be booze, all the same thing, sort of blanket statement. Not a lot of people consider themselves alcoholics, but yet they can drink wine, but yet they can't drink booze. Like can't. Alcoholic-ish can't, right? So eating disorders are kind of screwed up. It's kind of screwed up. It's kind of like we got dealt the short end of the stick when it comes to substance abuse, because we can't just abstain. And so when we talk about the addiction and then we talk about the craving, a lot of people say that they have food cravings, but they don't call it an addiction. I have no problems with calling it an addiction. It's a problem. It's a definite problem. I'm still working on it. I am still working on it. I'm getting better and better. I really am. I'm getting better and better at it. I make fewer and fewer poor choices. And when I do make a poor choice, it's usually a very conscious decision. One of my people told me that she's been having trouble with popcorn, and that's why I keep on bringing it up. I feel very close to this person. And so when she was talking about her popcorn problem, I felt her pain. I physically, like I'm laying in bed and I'm on my phone and I'm like, oh my God, I have to address this. So what do you do about it? You don't keep popcorn in your house. Never, never. I know that she said that she was like craving one thing instead of another, so she went with popcorn because she felt like it was the lesser of two evils, but yet she still abused it. And I'm not calling her out on anything that she hasn't already said, and I'm not making fun of her, and I'm not, using her as an example of what not to do. But what you can do is you can treat your addiction the same as any kind of other substance abuse, specifically smoking, because smoking is something that people would do all day long. I speak from experience. I was a heavy smoker for a long time. I don't know how I did it. I don't know why I did it. It was part of my life. Every single person in my family smoked. Mom was smoking when we were kids in the car, right there. Probably the doctor in the hospital when she was delivering me was smoking. It's just like that kind of thing. 70s, 60s, 70s, that kind of thing. So for me, I specifically remember when I was quitting smoking that if I gave myself 3 minutes after a craving hit, that I would just like look at my watch and just wait for 3 minutes to pass. And chances are at the 3-minute mark, I had stopped thinking about it. So every time you get an urge for anything, maybe you should just sit down and look at the clock and say, okay, 3 minutes. And maybe in that 3 minutes, you can do a specific 3-minute activity. Brushing your teeth is a really good idea. A lot of people say brush your teeth every time you crave a cigarette. Why wouldn't you brush your teeth every time you thought about popcorn? Or Chinese food? Or another 3-minute activity. Writing down 3 goals, because it can take about a minute per goal. Now, these are not goals that are set in stone. You don't have, you're not Moses, you're not carrying big tablets or anything like that. You can have a little notebook in your purse, or your merce if you're a guy, and a pencil. And you can, every time you get an urge to eat off plan, you can take out that little notebook and you can write down 3 goals. Your goals for that moment, because your goals don't have to stay the same all the time. So if you say you get the urge, you take out that little notebook and you say, okay, what are my 3 goals? Oh, I can't think of one. Chances are in 60 seconds, you'll be able to think of one. And then, okay, what's the second one? Can't think. What's my goal for right now? And don't just keep on writing the same one over and over. Make them all different. What about every time you did this little activity, this little 3-minute activity, and you wrote down 3 goals, how about you never repeated it in the same day? Writing it down, in other words. Say your goal was 50 pounds and size 12 jeans and riding a roller coaster. The next time you got a craving and you got out your little notebook and you wrote down 3 goals in 3 minutes, you could choose, and I don't want the seatbelt extender on the airplane. And when I hit the 25-pound mark, I'm going to get my hair done professionally. And I would like to go to the grocery store and not feel like everybody's staring at me, because that could be a goal. It might not be tangible to some people, but if it's a goal to you and you hit it, that's tangible. That's a thing. That's a total thing. So in other words, you could have a list. You could have any division of 3 by the end of the day of goals. And then the next day, if you wanted to, start over again and start writing those same goals, that's fine. I suggest you keep your imagination as wild as possible when it comes to goals, because nobody's looking at them. It could be anything. I mean, your goal could be a big house. Your goal doesn't necessarily have to be directly weight related to everybody else. To you, it might be weight related in that moment, but you're going to notice that these kind of goals, they stop becoming quite so superficial. That stuff starts to not mean quite so much. Your goals are probably going to start to get quite deep, not little 5 pounds here, 10 pounds there, because as you move on in your journey, your goals become crazy, and it's awesome. And I don't consider myself to have a really good imagination, but my goals have become like, yay. And there's nothing wrong with having goals. You're not disappointing anybody. It's just a thought. It's something to shoot for. It's like the star, Anyway, by the end of your day, if you have suppressed all of your cravings by taking 3 minutes to distract yourself, to turn in another direction because the energy that's coming at you this way is too gross and craving-like and has all that stuff in it, so you go like this. You can sit down at the end of the day and you can read what all of your goals were for that day. And it would just be kind of a nice thing to fall asleep while you have that list in front of you on your mind. And maybe you would have very pleasant dreams, and maybe you would actually dream about what your goals are. And wouldn't that be cool to actually experience your goals in your dreams? Yeah? Okay. This was deep, huh? My name is Andrea. I'm a Take Shape for Life health coach. If you'd like any help with the Metafest products or the Take Shape for Life program or anything else, or if you're interested in the Meltdown Challenge, there's going to be another one starting in August. I'm not going to do July because I'm going away. Rah, rah, rah. And if you need me, get in touch with me.